Hi, in this video, we will solve example sums for treatment of goodwill on death of a partner. The theory part behind treatment of goodwill has not been discussed as part of this course, death of partner, because the entries are the same as in the case of retirement. We need to debit the gaining partner's capital or current accounts, and instead of the retiring partner's capital or current account being credited, we will credit the deceased partner's capital or current account. We'll see this treatment of goodwill with the help of a few examples. Let's go to the first example sum. Example sum 1. P, R and S are partners sharing profits in the ratio of 4:3:1. It is provided in the partnership deed that on the death of any partner, the deceased partner's share of goodwill will be valued at half of the profits credited to his account during the previous 4 completed years. R died on 1st April 2020. The firm's profits or losses for the last 4 years ended 31st March are 2017 rupees 1,20,000, 2018 rupees 60,000, 2019 rupees 20,000 loss, and 2020 rupees 80,000. The first part of the question is determine the amount that should be credited to R as a share of goodwill. And the second part, pass the journal entry for adjustment of goodwill if the profit sharing ratio between P and S in future will be 3:2, when case A says goodwill account is not opened and B goodwill account is opened. So let's go ahead with the solution. We'll solve the first subdivision, the amount that should be credited to R as a share of goodwill. Working notes. It says the deceased partner's share of goodwill will be valued at half of the profits credited to his account during the previous 4 completed years. So first let's get the total profits of previous 4 completed years. It's rupees 1,20,000 plus 60,000 rupees minus 20,000 rupees plus 80,000 rupees. This is equal to rupees 2,40,000 rupees. Therefore, our share of goodwill 2,40,000 rupees. That's the total profits of the previous 4 completed years. We'll get our share in profits, which is 3 divided by 8, and half of this should be taken. So we have our share of goodwill as rupees 45,000. So the first subdivision is completed. Our share of goodwill is rupees 45,000. Let's go to the second subdivision. to pass the journal entry when the profit sharing ratio between P and S in future will be 3:2. We'll begin with case A. Journal, date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. We need to ascertain the gaining ratio. As per the problem, the old profit sharing ratio between P, R and S is equal to 4:3:1. The deceased partner is R, and further the NPSR between P and S is given as 3:2. So let's get the gain for partner P. Old share 4 divided by 8 minus new share 3 divided by 5. Four divided by 40 gain for partner S. 1 divided by 8 old share minus 2 divided by 5 new share. 11 divided by 40 gain. Therefore, gaining ratio between P and S is equal to 4 by 40 is to 11 by 40, or in other words 4:11. So we'll pass the journal entry. The date of R's death is 1st April 2020. The gaining partners: P capital account debit, S capital account debit, to R capital account. We'll write R's share of goodwill rupees 45,000 against R's capital account, and this needs to be divided in gaining ratio. So against P it is 45,000 rupees multiplied by 4 divided by 15. 12,000 rupees. And in the case of S, it's 45,000 rupees multiplied by 11 divided by 15. 33,000 rupees. Narration: being goodwill, adjustment, so in the case A, where we will not open the goodwill account, we need to debit the gaining partner and credit the deceased partner's capital account. So this is the answer to case A. Let's go to case B. Case B, we are asked to pass the journal entry for adjustment of goodwill where the goodwill account is opened. Now in this case, we need to pass two journal entries. One for raising the goodwill in old profit sharing ratio, and the second entry for writing it off in new profit sharing ratio. So we need to arrive at the goodwill of the firm. Let's begin with the working notes. Now we already found out that our share of goodwill is equal to rupees 45,000 while doing the first subdivision. Now, our share in profits equals to 3 divided by 8. Therefore, the firm's goodwill will be equal to our share of goodwill, which is 45,000 rupees, multiplied by the reciprocal of our share in profit, which is 8 divided by 3. So we get 1,20,000 as the goodwill of the firm. So let's go ahead with the journal entries in case B, when the goodwill account is opened. We have date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The date of ours death is 1st April 2020. The first journal entry is for raising goodwill to full value. So it's goodwill account debit for rupees 1,20,000, the goodwill of the firm, to all partners' capital accounts in OPSR, to P capital account, to R capital account, to S capital account. 1,20,000 to be divided in 4:3:1. Against P's capital account, we have 60,000. Against R capital account, 45,000 rupees. And S capital account, rupees 15,000. Being goodwill raised to full value. The next journal entry, same date, we need to write off the goodwill among the continuing partners in their new profit sharing ratio. So it's P capital account debit S capital account debit to goodwill account. Against goodwill account, we'll write the goodwill of the firm, 1,20,000 rupees, and write this off in the NPSR between P and S, which is given as 3:2. Against P, we have 72,000 rupees, and against S capital account, we have 48,000 rupees. Narration: being goodwill written off. So these are the two journal entries in case B, when the goodwill account is to be opened. Let's go to the example sum 2. Example sum 2. Sita, Rita and Geeta are partners in a firm sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 4:3:1. As per the terms of the partnership deed, on the death of any partner, her share of goodwill was to be valued at 50% of the net profits credited to that partner's capital account during the last 3 completed years before her death. Sita died on 29th February 2012. The profits for the last 5 years were 2007 rupees 60,000, 2008 rupees 97,000, 2009 rupees 1,05,000, 2010 rupees 30,000, and 2011 rupees 84,000. On the date of Sita's death, building was found undervalued by rupees 80,000, which was to be considered. Calculate amount of Sita's share of goodwill of the firm and record the adjustment journal entries of goodwill and revaluation of building. The new profit sharing ratio between Rita and Geeta will be equal. So we'll begin with the working notes. Working notes. The question says, on the death of any partner, her share of goodwill was to be calculated at 50% of the net profits credited to that partner's capital account during the last 3 completed years before her death. So in this case, the last 3 completed years are 2009, 2010 and 2011. So let's get the total profits of last 3 completed years. This is equal to 1,05,000 rupees plus 30,000 rupees plus 84,000 rupees, which is equal to 2,19,000 rupees. So Sita's share of goodwill is 2,19,000 rupees multiplied by her share in profits, which is 4 divided by 8, and 50% of this, so multiplied by half. Comes up to 54,750 rupees is Sita's share of goodwill. Let's find out the gaining ratio. As per the problem, whole profit sharing ratio between Sita, Rita and Geeta is equal to 4:3:1. Deceased partner Sita and the NPSR between Rita and Geeta as per the last line. The new profit sharing ratio between Rita and Geeta will be equal. So for Rita, old share 3/8 minus the new share 1/2, we get a negative 1/8, which is gain of Rita. And for Geeta, it's 1/8 old share minus 1/2 new share, a negative 3 divided by 8, which is the gain of Geeta. Hence the gaining ratio between Rita and Geeta is equal to 1:3. So let's pass the journal entries solution. Date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees, and credit rupees. Date of Sita's death is 29 February 2012. We need to debit the gaining partners and credit Sita's capital account. Rita capital account debit. Geeta capital account debit. To Sita's capital account. Against Sita, we will write 54,750. Against Rita, it's 54,750 multiplied by 1 divided by 4. So it's 13,688. And we'll write the balancing figure under Geeta. 54,750 minus 13,688. Which is 41,062. Being Goodwill adjusted. Next entry on the same date, it says building was found undervalued by rupees 80,000. So we increase the value of building by debiting the building account and crediting revaluation account. Amount 80,000. Narration being value of building increased. (29 to 2012). Now that we've credited the revaluation account with rupees 80,000, we are left with a gain on revaluation, which has to be transferred to all the partners in their old profit sharing ratio, which is 4:3:1. So let's do that. Revaluation account debit. The gain on revaluation is 80,000 rupees to Sita capital account, to Rita capital account, to Geeta capital account. ₹80,000 in OPSR, 4:3:1. 40,000 against Sita's capital account, 30,000 against Rita's capital account, and 10,000 against Geeta's capital account, being the gain on revaluation transferred. So these are the three journal entries, the solution to this example sum. Let's go to the next example sum. Third example sum. Ram, Ghanshyam and Vrinda were partners in a firm, sharing profits in the ratio of 4:3:1. The firm closes its book on 31st March every year. On 1st February 2017, Ghanshyam died, and it was decided that the new profit sharing ratio between Ram and Vrinda will be equal. The partnership deed provided for the following on the death of a partner. Point A. His share of goodwill will be calculated on the basis of half of the profits credited to his account during the previous 4 completed years. The firm's profits for the last 4 years were: for 2012-13, it's rupees 1,20,000. For 2013-14, it's rupees 80,000. For 2014-15, it's rupees 40,000. And for 2015-16, it's rupees 80,000. Point B says his share of profit in the year of his death was to be computed on the basis of average profits of the last 2 years. We are asked to pass the necessary journal entries relating to goodwill and the profit to be transferred to Ghanshyam's capital account. Also, show your workings clearly. We'll begin with the working notes. Working notes. We'll first calculate the total profits of the previous 4 completed years. Total profits of 4 years is equal to 1,20,000 plus 80,000 plus 40,000 plus 80,000. Comes to rupees 3,20,000. G share of goodwill, Ghanshyam's share of goodwill. Total profits of the last 4 years, which is 3,20,000 rupees, multiplied by Ghanshyam's share in profits, which is 3 divided by 8, and 50% of this, half of the profits. So it's 1 divided by 2. Comes to rupees 60,000. Next, let's calculate G share in the profits. We need to first take the average profits of the last 2 years, which is 80,000 and 40,000 for 2015-16 and 2014-15. So that comes up to 1,20,000 divided by 2, which is 60,000 rupees, multiplied by Ghanshyam dies on 1st February 2017. The number of months from 1st April 2016 till 1st February 2017 is 10 months. So multiplied by 10 divided by 12 and multiplied by Ghanshyam's share in profits, which is 3 divided by 8. So 1,50,000 rupees divided by 8, which is equal to 18,750 rupees. Next, let's calculate the gain of the continuing partners to get the gaining ratio. As per the problem, the old profit sharing ratio between Ram, Ghanshyam and Vrinda is equal to 4:3:1. Ghanshyam is a deceased partner And the new profit sharing ratio between Ram and Vrinda is equal as per the problem. So for Ram, old share 4 divided by 8 minus the new share 1 by 2, nil. So no gain or sacrifice by Ram. And in the case of Vrinda, old share 1 divided by 8 minus 1 by 2 is equal to 3 by 8, and the gaining partner is Vrinda alone. So let's pass the journal entries. Journal. We have date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees, and credit rupees. The date of Ghanshyam's death, 1st February 2017 as per the problem. We need to we'll do the goodwill treatment first. We need to debit the gaining partner and credit the deceased partner Ghanshyam. Vrinda capital account debit. To Ghanshyam's capital account. Ghanshyam's share of goodwill 60,000 rupees. Being goodwill adjusted. Next, same date, 1st February 2017. There's a change in the ratio, so we need to debit the gaining partner, Vrinda, for Ghanshyam's share of profits up to the date of death. Vrinda capital account debit. To Ghanshyam's capital account. Share of Ghanshyam's profits up to the date of his death is 18,750 rupees. Being Ghanshyam's share of profits up to date of his death credited to his capital account. So these are the two journal entries in this example sum 3.